I don't really talk about this. In fact, I haven't told anyone the full story until now. I guess I've been trying to convince myself it didn't happen, that I imagined it, that my mind was just tired. But no, what I saw, what I felt, was real. I'm a traveling salesman. Been on the road for over 12 years now. I've stayed in every kind of motel you can think of. Roach-infested, dead quiet, fancy, sketchy. But this one was different. It was November. I remember because it was just after Halloween and people still had decorations out. Plastic pumpkins on porches, tattered ghosts in trees. I'd been driving for hours through North Carolina. The sun had set before I even hit Ashfield, a small town you probably wouldn't even see on a map. I was looking for a place to crash. Nothing fancy, just a place with a bed. That's when I saw it, this beat-up roadside motel. Ashfield Inn. Neon sign barely flickering. It looked like it hadn't had a guest in weeks. I pulled in. There was only one car in the lot, an old pickup that looked like it hadn't moved in years. I walked into the lobby, and there was this guy behind the desk, maybe in his 60s, pale skin, thin, eyes, kind of empty. He didn't say much, just looked at me for a second and handed me a key. Room 104. Didn't even ask for ID or a credit card. I didn't think too much about it. Just figured it was small-town behavior. The hallway to room 104 was dark, a single buzzing light above the door. I remember the key, an actual metal key, not a card, and the tag had scratches on it, like it had been through a lot. When I walked in, I felt it instantly. The room was freezing. Not cold like bad insulation, cold like a basement. The curtains were closed tight. The air smelled old, like dust, maybe mildew, but heavier, like the room had been sealed shut for years. The bed was stiff. The carpet was worn out in the middle, like someone had paced the room for years. But what stood out, what really made me pause, was the mirror above the sink. It was cracked. A long, jagged line ran straight through the center, but what gave me chills was the way the crack curved inward, like something had hit it from behind, from the wall, not the front. I stared at it for maybe a minute. My reflection was distorted by the crack. I remember thinking I looked wrong, like a stranger. I tried to shake it off. I was tired, exhausted really. I unpacked a few things, brushed my teeth, and crawled into bed. I turned off the lamp beside me, and that's when the silence hit me. Not quiet. Silence. No wind outside. No buzzing fridge. Not even the old wall clock ticking anymore. It was like the world had shut off. I sat up, confused. Checked my phone. 1:36 a.m. Then I felt it, like someone was watching me. I looked up, and there, in the far right corner of the room, was a man, not moving, not speaking, just standing, in complete darkness. My body locked up. I couldn't scream, couldn't even blink. I reached for my phone and turned on the flashlight. He was gone. But the air, it didn't change. It was still cold, still heavy. I slowly turned toward the mirror, not wanting to, but feeling like I had to. And there he was, in the mirror, standing directly behind me, in the reflection. I spun around. Nothing. Looked back. Still there. A man. Pale. Wet hair. Sunken eyes. Just standing. He wasn't angry. He wasn't even moving, but he was watching me. And I swear, I felt like he'd been there a long time. I sat in the corner of that bed until the sun rose. I didn't sleep, didn't move, just waited. The second the light came through the curtains, I grabbed my stuff and left. At the front desk, I asked the guy, "Is there something wrong with that room?" He didn't look surprised, just said, "We don't usually rent out 104. You asked for it." But I didn't. I never said a room number. I got in my car and drove straight out of Ashfield. Didn't even stop for gas until I was almost 2 towns away. A few days later, I looked it up, found an old article from the late 90s. A man had committed suicide in room 104, slit his wrists in front of the mirror. The article said the mirror had been replaced once, cracked again within a week. They never figured out why. That was years ago, but I've never gone near Ashfield since. And sometimes, on cold, quiet nights, when the house is still and I catch my reflection at the wrong angle, I see something behind me. A man, pale, wet hair, just watching me, like he never left room 104